we are into the third week of the season with each team having played around 9 to 10 games now. Uh, some what do I call it? Some patterns are beginning to emerge, right? The Bucks are still unbeaten. Luka Doncic still scoring about 30 every game. Whether they win or lose, he's getting his numbers up. Warriors are yet to win an away game. The Lakers have real problems. The Jazz are still winning games. So many things going on. We have not even spoken about Kyrie or Brooklyn Nets or the James Harden injury and all that. We'll do that in the episode. Lots to talk about. Let's get started. We'll start off with the big news of the week, the Kyrie Irving situation and the firing of Steve Nash. Right? I'm looking at this Brooklyn Nets timeline, which started. Can you believe it's 4 years since Kyrie and KD decided to team up in New York?
It's a new process.
It's a new process. They had a good team. D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, all of them. They were making the playoffs. They had a good coach in Kenny Atkinson. They decided to let all of that go. Decided to get Kevin Durant. Not really a bad punt, but the mistake that they made was getting Kyrie Irving along with him, right?
No. Then KD made, because he said it's a package. I'll come.
Yeah, of course. He has to sign off on that. Yeah, of course. And then they replaced the coach, Kenny Atkinson. Kyrie said it's the first time that he has someone whom he can trust and pass the ball when the game's on the line. And he also said that he doesn't need a coach. He could be the coach. Steve Nash is not really... He's just there, right, making up the numbers. What happened after that? KD sat out the whole of the first year because he was injured. That's okay. Kyrie played, missed the playoffs. Second year, what happened? They went to the bubble and Kyrie missed the playoffs, right? The team did pretty decently, but they were not strong enough to overcome Toronto Raptors. Second year, what happened? They decided to pursue James Harden and make this an even more dramatic team. They got James Harden. KD is incredible throughout the year. He was in the running for MVP for a long, long time before he got injured. And then they made the playoffs. Kyrie got injured. James Harden got injured. Kevin Durant still single-handedly manages to salvage the situation. Just steps on the line, loses in Game 7 to the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, not a bad year. Move on. You think things will only get brighter and nicer for the Brooklyn Nets, but no.
Except
Kyrie decides, no, I'm not getting vaccinated. James Harden is pissed. He says, I want to leave. They trade James Harden for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons doesn't play the entire year. KD is still awesome, by the way, throughout all this. He just plays basketball and he plays really well. They make the playoffs, get swept 4-0 by the Boston Celtics. And Kyrie just disappears in the playoffs. He had a great first game, but game 2, 3, 4, he hardly did anything, right? What happens in the offseason? KD asks, he says he's had enough of this drama. He wants to be traded. Kyrie wants to be traded too, but no takers for him. KD is too big of a package that nobody is able to put together a package for Kevin Durant. Not enough, and Brooklyn Nets have no reason to accept it. So KD stays. He says he'll stay if Steve Nash is fired. 2 days later, everything's all well, all rosy and well, and KD stays. Steve Nash is there. Kyrie is still there. Except that it's 10 days into the season. Ben Simmons is injured already. Kyrie Irving is playing every alternate game. He's playing well. Kevin Durant is still awesome throughout all of this. Brooklyn Nets can't manage to win a game. Kyrie decides it's 10 days. It's too long into the season. I'm bored. Let me put out something that's very controversial. And he does that.
Yeah, because now vaccines are not that sexy anymore. So we need a new shit topic. Because we've done flat earth. We've done anti-vax. We need something new. Kanye is getting too much attention. I've got to get in on the action.
And despite all of this, Steve Nash is fired first.
Of course.
And as you thought it couldn't get any worse, they decide to hire Ime Udoka, who's serving a suspension with the Boston Celtics. Who's writing all this? Who's writing the script for the Brooklyn Nets? And can you blame Kevin Durant for asking to be traded throughout all this mess? I mean, of course, he just wants to go and play basketball. It's pretty evident. The day that Kyrie Irving gets suspended, he puts on a show, goes and gets a win, goes and wins a consecutive win. Like they've won 2 in a row for the first time this season. Kevin Durant is awesome at basketball. We all know that. He made one bad decision of deciding to pair up with Kyrie Irving. And that's costing him probably titles and years of his prime. First of all, can you blame KD for asking to be traded? Second of all, how is this situation going to be repaired?
No, it can't. At one point, the Brooklyn Nets put together 3 superstars who, for some reason, still have a reputation about them. I can understand KD. The other 2, I really don't get why they're so relevant. The amount of primetime footage and media space that has been wasted on Kyrie Irving and on James Harden. Let's start with Harden, the easiest of the 3 to deal with, right? Because the other 2 are a little more complicated. James Harden, we've spoken enough about how he got everything and then some in Houston. He literally ran the show. and left them high and dry, gave them nothing for it, nothing to show for it, and then he bounced. And he bounced in a very acrimonious fashion, not a great breakup. Comes to Brooklyn, has like 1/3 of a season where he's an amazing point guard and a truly selfless team player, and he looked phenomenal. And we thought, okay, not only is this going to work, he might even prolong his career by a few years if he's able to adapt at this level. That's about it. Year 2, starts sulking. Year 3, starts moping. Again, leaves the franchise high and dry. Goes off gallivanting with Daryl Morey again, this time to Philadelphia. Again, one sliver of a season. He's the ultimate team player. He's the guy that props Embiid up. What happens next season? James Harden take over. He turns the Sixers into the Rockets. Embiid is now pissed off. Now Harden's pissed off, and now Harden's injured. And yet another season wasted. The amount of time we wasted on this man, treating him to be like the second coming of Jordan. If that same time could have been spent focusing on, let's say, how Ja Morant can be a bigger player, how he can win the chip, how Zion needs to work on whatever. And why doesn't Jason Tatum get any of this love? Because the dude's been on fire for like 4 or 5 seasons now, take coach after coach, player after player. No superstar, yes superstar. Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, gets them to the playoffs, to the conference finals a bunch of times, to the finals. So James Harden, that's about it, man. It's over unless he wins the ring. Don't care, couldn't care less. His time's up. Kyrie Irving, wow. It's kind of tough to take column inches away from Ye or Kanye West or whatever he's calling himself now. Kyrie Irving does it on the same topic as Kanye has chosen to speak about, and does a pretty phenomenal job. I love how he says it. Then he says, I don't apologize for it. He says, when asked if he's anti-Semitic, and he got a direct question, and the next I understand, told him to answer it directly with a, no, I am not. I made a mistake. What does Kyrie say? Some just, water watery and beating around the bush, never gets to the point. Doesn't answer anything, really. It's not like he answered a different question. He just mumbled some random crap, walks off. Then they suspend him. Suddenly now there's an Instagram post saying, I've realized the error in my ways and I'm going to work with the gym. Fuck off. Had the Nets not fired him, had Nike not asked him to take his contract and shove it, I don't think that apology would have come. I just don't get it. He's just, why does this guy get attention? It's just like Kanye West. I just don't get why Kyrie gets attention, but he entertains us. Kevin Durant made 2 mistakes, not one. First mistake, wanting out of that Golden State Warriors.
Of course.
He was there. It was a chip-winning machine. It was a juggernaut. His second of 2 titles was a sweep in the finals against LeBron. And LeBron had monster numbers. It just wasn't enough because he had nobody else.
That's still a smaller mistake compared to the big mistake he made opting to play with Kyrie.
No, but I mean, one preceded the other, right? Because his kind of, he was the finals MVP in both years. So it wasn't like he was being overshadowed or he was given a role. He was given the role.
He still wanted to be the face of the franchise, which he would never be at Golden State, right?
Where will he be? I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's that guy that can build a...
That was the hope. That was what he thought he could do.
Yeah, so then 3 mistakes. First mistake was thinking that's his style of play. He's an elite player, probably one of the best in the game. Stick to that, man. Let others do the squad building. It's not necessary that everyone has to be good at everything to be considered a legend. That's just not how it works. So, yeah. And then he picked Kyrie, which kind of proves point 1, which is why did he think he was the guy that will build a squad from nothing and win a chip? Like, why is that even? It's so overrated sometimes how much these players are influenced by video games, by the hip hop industry and what they write about them, and by podcasts. Why is it important that for you to be a true legend, you need to win at least 1 chip by building from scratch? Why is that so important?
You don't even have to win a chip, to be honest.
Yeah. So, good luck, KD, because clock's running out. You've picked this Kanye West like bite-sized version in Kyrie. I don't know what he brings to the table. I just don't see it. I don't see a chip for this team. I just don't see it working out before Kevin Durant retires where they are right now.
I don't see it either. Is there a possibility that Kevin Durant can still be traded this season?
It should happen at this point, because I think the Nets should also realize this is bust for them. Like, it's a total failure. The earlier they pull the plug, the better, and start from scratch. Right now they can still get a bunch of picks for Kevin Durant and a whole host of players in return.
It's surprising because the Brooklyn Nets were seeming to be one of the better run organizations, right, before they got in this duo. And it's all fallen apart. I mean, this is what happens when I think you hand over the team to the players. They're not meant to be management guys, right? They're meant to be players. And that's exactly what...
And not even the great LeBron James, by the way. He doesn't go away scot-free from what he's done in the Lakers.
True. We spoke about how it's been 4 years for the Brooklyn Nets. Guess where else it's been 4 years and you've hardly seen the duo play together. It's at the other end of the coast, other end of the country, in LA, at the Los Angeles Clippers. Paul George is putting up monster numbers right now against Utah Jazz, but his partner, Kawhi Leonard, has played 2 games this season after missing 18 months of basketball.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
If you remember, there were rumors last season if Clippers get through the play-ins and if they make the playoff, there's a sliver of hope that Kawhi Leonard might just turn up in the playoffs. The playoffs is gone. They got knocked out in the play-ins. The entire 3 rounds of playoffs were over. The whole summer is over. The NBA season has started. Kawhi Leonard comes back. It's their 10th game of the season. He's played 2 games off the bench. He's played a total of 41 minutes. Would you be worried if you were a Clippers fan, like something's not really well with him? Like, is it just load management and they're being extra cautious, or you think there is a bigger injury than that they thought there was?
I think both. But first of all, it's so bizarre with these LA teams when you describe them and say superstar has missed so many games, blah, blah, blah. It could really be either of the franchises. You'll have to really zero in on the details to figure out which franchise we're talking about. They both suck. They both made all kinds of squad decisions. Both have superstars that are out all the time. Oh, man. I think it was obvious from year one that with Kawhi, because you have to wonder, Spurs generally don't let talent go. And I know he made it rancid. The situation there was borderline toxic. But they still usually don't let talent go. They always find a way to rein the ego in. But with Kawhi, ultimately they moved and said, okay, screw it, we're out. We'll rebuild. There must have been something there. But then he won a chip. That changed everything. For me, that one chip in Toronto, had that not happened, Kawhi wouldn't have had this status, but he did what KD desires to do, what Harden desires to do.
Yeah.
Go somewhere and say, I'm the guy, and then win a chip.
He just played for 1 year and won the chip.
Yeah, exactly. First attempt.
Yep.
He did a Tom Brady, basically.
Yeah.
And also a team that without him, no shot at a chip. Great team, no shot at a chip.
Of course. With no experience of playing in those big games.
Yeah, exactly. Never got past the conference finals with Lowry and DeRozan and all that. So did all that, now gets superstar hype. Now he's been 4 years, like you said. He's injured as much as AD, perhaps more, perhaps a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And again, a case of superstar dictating terms. He actually toyed with the Lakers, pulled the rug out from under them, went to the Clippers, said, I'll only come if PG is here. For some reason, he decides to pick yet another sort of unreliable star. To his credit, PG has been a revelation in the last year and a half or so. He's elevated even more, including in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So now he really deserves that max, supermax, whatever it is that he got. With Kawhi, I think it's the injury is a lot bigger than they're letting out. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the Spurs knew it and now the Clippers know it. And therefore, probably they're being overprotective. Because at any point it could just career over. I think it's that sort of a deal because otherwise this just doesn't make sense.
Okay. Do you see Kawhi Leonard being the Kawhi Leonard that led Toronto Raptors to the title ever again? Because this is he's in his 30s now. And as you get older, the injuries get more dangerous, right? And he was an elite player whenever he played. He made the game look so easy, right? On defense, on offense. There was nothing complicated about his game. He was just very good at whatever he did. Do you see you'll ever get that version of Kawhi Leonard ever again?
I think the question is, will we ever get one full season from him ever again? Yeah. Because if we do, I think we'll get that version. Because every single time he's played, regardless of the gap, he's looked sharp.
Yep.
A game or two rusty and then boom, he's into it. And it's the same old Kawhi. So it's just a question of do we get one full season? I don't think so. I think this is it. This is his career. I think what is probably the best case scenario is preserve him in the regular season and build enough of a squad that you're in the playoffs. But it's a very risky way to live. How many organizations would want to live?
You've seen it last season itself, right? The Clippers didn't even make the playoffs because now only the top 6 qualify, not the top 8. And you need to get into top 6. Or else you're just risking you could have a bad day in the plane and get knocked out right away. That's exactly what happened to the Clippers last time.
Yeah, one and done is a terrible idea in basketball. I get it in NFL, but it's a terrible idea in basketball. Like one odd game here and there, and that's it. Like season over.
That's the charm of it, right? Or else that's why the regular season matters. That's why the
so the thing is, don't be in those spots. Yeah, exactly. So don't be in those spots.
Still, like 6 of the 15 teams are getting a direct entry. So I don't think it's a bad format at all.
Yeah. No, I love the format. I'm saying for teams for teams to bet on it, it's really a bad position to be in. But unfortunately, that's why I say how many teams want to do that? How many teams want to live on the edge till the playoffs and then hope, even then it's not a guarantee. Hope that Kawhi comes back, doesn't have an injury, glides through to the finals and wins the finals. It's a bridge too far. Like, I'm not risking it if I'm one of the top teams. If I was running the Clippers, wouldn't that be a life? If I was running the Clippers, this isn't something I would bank on. I'd probably move now and go in a different direction. Which I should have done like 2 seasons ago.
You briefly mentioned the Lakers. They got 2 consecutive wins and then they collapsed today against the Cavs. Is that a false glimmer of hope in those 2 wins, or they're actually good and they were beaten by a better team today?
Yeah, the latter, actually. I don't think it is false. I think they found something. That clicked in those 2 games. First of all, at least it's with this organization, it's baby steps at this point. They've sucked so bad that you just got to take baby steps and feel happy like a proud parent. Westbrook off the bench. First sort of green shoot. Does it work? Yes, it works. And it probably works a whole lot better than Westbrook as a starter. So there you go. You figured out something. You figured out Matt Ryan can shoot and he can actually make something happen in the clutch, which can't be said about the other Matt Ryan. So that's another little interesting little green shoot that they picked up. LeBron, for all the talk of how did they pick a team, normally a superstar who is a guaranteed trip to the finals. If you load up shooters around him, how did you build a squad that absolutely can't shoot around LeBron James? Yeah. We've heard enough of that. They've kind of picked up their shooting. Westbrook's average has gone up. Lonnie Walker's is doing pretty well. All of the young ones off the bench are doing decently well. Who has the worst shooting in the league right now? The worst shooting in the league with a minimum of 50 shots attempted. Yep. It's the
Would
king.
you be worried about LeBron? I wouldn't. I mean, it's like...
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying it's a
of course.
Step up. Enough articles have been written about how you need shooters around you. You can't be the worst in the league, man.
Of course.
You can't go from MVP talk to worst in the league. So the other good thing is I think AD, whenever we know his game is elite, when his game is played like his game. The problem is he seems so afraid these days to play his game. The reason why he was so valuable to the Lakers and why they gave up everything to bring him from the Pelicans was, who was he the year before that? He was a defensive phenom. He was an above the rim, hyper aggressive player who would drive to the rim without instigation, and he was damn near unstoppable in the paint. And because he had that threat, he would sometimes create for him good jump shot opportunities that he would take and knock down. That was his game. It has now become, he largely takes jump shot opportunities because he's afraid to go to the paint. And now his jump shooting is exposed and teams are more than happy to let him shoot.
Yeah, he's an average shooter, right? Without driving to the basket, he's an average shooter. And
without that threat that he's going to drive by you, you're happy sticking to him, putting a hand in his face because you know he has no balls to go. That's harsh, but he's got to get over that. I saw some semblance of the old AD emerging. At least he was going for those fast break alley-oops, going above him a little bit here and there. But again, with this team, it's baby steps. It's like a 3-year plan to get to the playoffs. So I don't know what pace they have, but some positives. It's not a total disaster.
What do you think about the Warriors' disastrous run so far? 5 consecutive losses. That include losses against the Charlotte Hornets, Detroit Pistons, and the Orlando Magic. I mean, I would take the losses against Miami Heat and Pelicans. They are good teams. But Hornets, Detroit Pistons, Magic, what's happening there?
Yeah, I wish I had an answer. The obvious thing is it's Steph Curry going it alone. Could it be complacency? Because they have a bunch of people that are not a usual part of their chip winning bandwagon. I think Clay has had a pretty drastic drop, but Clay's always been inconsistent. So you'll have to take like a 30-game sample before you conclude that it's been a drop. But the others, do you think it's a bit of complacency seeping in with Poole and with Wiggins because they won a chip? They think now they're all that. They're the defending champs.
I actually think the first unit has been amazing. They have been so amazing that their 5-man lineup, starting lineup with Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Looney have the highest net average in the league despite their terrible record. Right? That shows that their bench has been bad so far, and bad is a very understatement. It's a big understatement because Poole, Wiseman, Kuminga, they have not been defending at all. And that makes Warriors one of the worst defenses in the league right now. I think they're like fourth from bottom or something. Moody is someone who's shown flashes of brilliance. He's played like a veteran out there despite his being his second, third year now. He's been great, but I think Wiseman, Poole, Kuminga really need to step up the defense, or else you will start complaining about how they let GP2 go and how they let Otto go because they were the guys who brought you defense last season, right?
Man, at this point, even Kelly Oubre will uplift their defense. Forget like GP2.
Yeah. The offense has still been great, right? They've been putting up 120, 125 pretty consistently. But the problem is they've been conceding they conceded 130 against the Orlando Magic, who are not actively looking to win. So that's the story of it all. I don't know if it's time to press the panic button yet, but it's time to relook at these defenses and probably a rotation and whatnot to get.
I think rotation. I think that's it. You've said it. I think it's largely a rotation thing. It's still the same squad that won the chip by and large. It's pretty elite. So
and the core is still great, right? The core is still great. I think one of the things that made Warriors a really tough team last season was their defense, and they had the best defense in the league for a long stretch until Draymond got injured, right? But this is a shadow of the team from last season. So. They really need to.
Teams have stepped up though, right? I think in the West, multiple teams have stepped up their defense. I think the Warriors need to really buck up.
Yeah.
And a lot of Western Conference offenses also have players back that really weren't there, that weren't an issue to deal with last season. I think the conference has sort of beefed up a little, so it's really bad time.
True. There was one message that you sent on the group last week, and I started so that I remember. When will we start taking Portland seriously? I'll let you answer the question.
I've started already. I'm waiting on the rest okay. So if there's anything that I have made clear over the last year or two since when we started doing this, it is I don't think much of Robin Lopez as a basketball player, and I don't think much of what's his face in Portland, who keeps getting injured half the time and getting dunked on by LeBron.
Oh no!
So. He's been pretty good every time he comes back. He's been pretty good. And Lillard's back. It's like that break was the greatest thing that could have happened to the NBA because Dame is back. Like Dame time. This is Dame is back. He's not some version of him. He's back. And as long as there's Dame in Portland, there's a playoff berth in Portland. That's pretty much how it works every season.
Yeah.
Right. So I've already started taking them seriously, at least as a strong playoff contender. Do I think they'll go anywhere? Do they go to the finals? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Do I take them to have another strong run? Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat. I'm actually pretty impressed because since we last spoke, when we said that Dame got injured and now you'll probably see the dip for Portland, which didn't really happen because Anthony Simmons has just taken on like he's the leader of the unit. Jeremy Grant. Brilliant find, and Jeremy Grant has been amazing as well, right? So he's got 2 game winners already in the space of 10 games. So brilliant player to have. I think he's great on defense, very underrated defender, and then he can get you points whenever needed. So I think this Portland team has something in them. I don't see them going deep, but this was not expected, right? I didn't expect them to make the playoffs even. So I like the Portland unit.
Yeah, because we looked at that squad and it's like, what is this? Can they moved on Powell? And they had just a random hodgepodge of what is this. First of all, I think Nurk again has been mighty impressive. Even in the bubble, he showed some glimpses, but since then, I think great comeback to form. He's one of those solid squad players that does what he's asked to. You want him to defend, he'll defend. You want him to bump bodies, he'll do that.
Bjelica was similar, right? I mean, he looked very clumsy, but he did his job.
Correct. And then they've had a bunch of these squad players step up. Anthony Simmons, what a find. For me, he's a much more polished offensive version of what Brunson was to the Mavs in like that X factor that just holds the team together. Jeremy Grant, I've been a huge fan since his Denver days. Even in the bubble, I remember I used to call out his defensive contributions and just how fab they were. And then in Detroit, I think he had a chance to own his offensive side of the game a little more because who the fuck was there? It was just him. I won a whole season of Fantasy League just riding on the coattails of Jeremy Grant's offense in Detroit. Great addition to the team, 2 game winners already, but more importantly, solid defense. I think the West this season is all about who can defend better while maintaining their offense, and Portland have really stepped up their defense with Nurkic, with Grant, Jabari Parker, who's putting in a shift every game on defense. I think it's a really interesting unit that they were.
Absolutely.
Jabari Walker, sorry, what am I saying? Parker, Jabari Walker.
You mentioned about Simmons, and we spoke briefly about Poole. And talking about these young guards, right? How impressive has Maxey been in the absence of James Harden and Joel Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers? Did you see that coming?
Yes, actually, because last season he was very, very, very impressive whenever the others were out. So absolutely.
I feel like he's the leader of the team.
I mean, even when there was after Ben Simmons moved out, people are like, Maxey's already filled up that offensive void, probably a little more than whatever Ben offered, while Embiid was still on court. Because with Ben Simmons, the scene was he would explode for 30, 40, but with Embiid off the floor, with Embiid, it never really messed. With Tyrese, he did his own thing, he got his own shot off, he really didn't need anyone to playmake for him, and he playmade for others. So he had pretty much the whole game. So absolutely, I saw it coming. I think whenever these two sit out, if those games are a plenty this season, you'll see Maxey just take flight.
Absolutely. I'll take this as an opportunity to bring on our new segment of, say, ordering players, okay? And I'll give you 4 cards, 3 of whom we have spoken so far. And
wait, new segment transition. Hold on. New segment audio. Okay, go.
Right. Okay, I want you to order these 4 cards on how you would rate them, all right?
Go for it. Ignore my
Tyrese Maxey, Jordan Poole, Anthony Simmons, and I'll add Tyler Hero in there. 4 young guards, 4 of them who have been in different situations. Simmons has been on a losing team so far. The first time he's getting an opportunity to win. Poole has been a part of a championship winning unit. Tyler Hero has made the 6th man spot his own, and he's won the title as well. And you saw Maxey is pretty much the leader of the team when Embiid and Harden are present as well. So if you had to rate 1, 2, 3, 4, how would you rate these 4 guards?
Very Karan Johar of you. Probably Jordan. It's a tough one. Probably Jordan Poole up top. I think offensively he's the most gifted of this lot. Jordan Poole up top. Very closely followed by Simons, then Maxey. That might surprise a few. Yeah. I'd say Simons, then Maxey. Hero is, I don't know. Like for me, he's a little too unreliable. That's my problem. Like he'll be the goat one game and then he'll suck the next game. He's too unreliable. These guys are consistent AF, the rest of them.
I like that too. I actually put Simons up first. I know what I've seen from Jordan Poole, and he's been a very vital unit in that.
Just for the chip, right? I put him up. Otherwise,
that is one thing. But then when he comes on defense, I'm like, you might as well play 4 players, right? So Simmons at least puts in an effort. I like it. I like how he handles that unit. So I would put Simmons up front. Very little sample to go by so far.
I'll take that.
Poole second, Maxey third. Hero, even for me, even though he's been brilliant, averaged around 25 last season, I somehow don't trust him to take a shot. So it feels very fluky at most times, but he has a good percentage. I can't really blame him.
No, all the numbers are good, but like even as a 6th man, if I had to pick one, I probably won't pick Hero. I'd probably go Jordan Clarkson. If I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Jordan Clarkson over Hero. So sorry, Hero. Sorry for the hate.
Well, that's a new segment. I think we pretty much agreed, and I think both of us had Simmons higher up than you at least had him higher up than I thought you would. So that's nice.
Oh, no, for sure. Again, beneficiary of Simmons discovering himself in the fantasy league. Every year I just find these 2-3 random gems that help me win.
Talking of fantasy league, I have another new segment that we will, you want to play our music? Okay, so every week we're going to give up one player that might surprise you all in fantasy league, right? And he might be available in the free agent waiver. You might just be able to pick him up in your respective fantasy leagues because they might not be taken up. But some gem, untapped gem, right? So you go with one and I'll follow you up.
Okay, so unfortunately, in our league, we follow a draft system, which means 13 managers all sit, 13 or 40, I don't know. We all sit for a draft, and there's an order, and one round happens and the other round happens in reverse order, and then reverse order, and so on. Which obviously then means if one guy picks a player, nobody else can take him, and that's how you build a squad. Problem is, we have one manager in our fantasy league, and I'm sure a lot of you who play fantasy will relate. There's always that one guy in every league who every day will pick up 3 free agents and every next day will drop 3 free agents. So most free agents worth anything are forever in waivers and you can't really pick them up. It's not a strategy, it's just indecisiveness. But of the ones that were left, I am glad to report I have 2 gems. One that I did pick up, one that I should have picked up. I woke up a little late that day. The guy that I woke up too late for was Marcus Morris. I think with the Clippers being as erratic AF as they are, with their guard choices, I think they will seek familiarity, and that familiarity right now is Zubac in the paint and Marcus Morris shooting from wherever he is. So both of them will fetch you points. I'm guessing some of you have, most leagues would have picked up Zubac already. So Marcus Morris is my first call out, second call out. Orlando don't really have much of a team to begin with, and then everyone's fucking injured right now. Everyone's injured in Orlando. So Bol, who has been frankly a revelation over the last fortnight or so, and I hope to see more of him. Which really begs the question, what the fuck were Denver doing with him? They treated him like he was Boban or something.
He's behind Jokic, and Jokic plays every game. Jokic is
like Boban got more credit in, like he was also behind Porzingis, but Boban at least got minutes then. Yeah, so Bol, solid, rock solid stats.
Yeah.
His size is such, he's going to get you some of those easy 2 points on steals and blocks here and there. And then bunch of rebounds guaranteed. If he scores, it's a festival.
Pretty entertaining player. He can shoot the 3 as well. So he's the original Victor Wembanyama. Well, I have a similar pickup as well. So in my team, Pascal Siakam got injured, and I was looking at who Toronto might replace him with. And I was watching the game today.
I was wondering how I went ahead.
And Siakam got injured, and I was wondering whom Toronto might replace him with. And I ended up watching the Raptors versus Bulls game today, and I saw Christian Koloko, a rookie. He's 7'1", pretty much like Bol, a little shorter than Bol though. He got 6 blocks today. I'm hoping this will continue to be a pattern, and Christian Koloko is my fan.
The pattern.
I hope it's a pattern. I mean, it doesn't have to be 6. You get me 2 blocks, 3 blocks, I'll be more than happy, right? So I think with that size and the way that Toronto plays defense, I think there is a possibility that Koloko might be one of those untapped potentials who might just benefit in the absence of Siakam. If you're looking for other players in Toronto, I think Chris Boucher will get a lot of opportunities now. I think Precious Achiuwa will get a lot of opportunities. They're guys to look out for, and that's my fantasy tip of the day.
The best part about a lot of these centers is, especially the dark horses who will kind of get you points through quiet rebounds and bunch of blocks, and you won't even realize it, but they all rack up because those are big numbers. The best part is you have 0 to no turnovers with these guys, which nothing screws up a good game more than turnovers when it comes to fantasy scoring. That's the big problem with Trae Young, right? He just gets boatloads of points every game, and then 20% is pitched away in turnovers. Same Westbrook, same bunch of players. So that's why I love a big man who performs.
I love the segment.
Sounds wrong.
I love the segment. I think we'll continue this tradition going forward every week. So watch out for our new Fantasy League segment. One last thing before we leave for the day. What did you make of Miles Turner asking the Lakers to get in? Did you see that interview with...
He did what? No, what did he do?
Yeah, so Miles Turner went on this podcast with Woj, and Woj asked him, what did you think of the rumors involving you in Lakers trade and whatnot? He said, if I were the Lakers, I would look at Miles Turner, a big man who can shoot the 3, great defense, can block shots. I think if I was the Lakers, I would make the trade. What do you think of that? It was very weird. I've never seen a player selling himself like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's been frustrated for like a year plus in Indiana. Like, he had made it open he wants to go out at the end of the 21 season. Then came 21-22. Nothing happened. All season he was clear. He's that guy that has open to work on his LinkedIn for like 1 full year, but nobody's making any offers. And then it's like year 2.5 almost of him just making it obvious. So, hey man, if you're that desperate and if you see that the Lakers absolutely suck and they could use you would say that. I think it was probably the best setting in which to say it. I mean, what's the cost, right? Well, Indiana's going to think he wants out. Everyone knows he wants out.
Everyone knows, yeah. And they know that they're looking to trade him as well, right? Last year,
they're going to trade also. They got a good, good package. So I think the last year of the contract is what makes it so juicy. Just go for it. If it doesn't work out, hey man, move on. So, yeah, I think he's not wrong, by the way. The Lakers absolutely need a big man who can shoot the 3.
But they have no assets to trade. That is the problem.
Also, they have no willingness to do anything sensible, as it would seem. That is an equally big problem. Like, if they had assets, this is the kind of team where they'll just sit on them waiting for them to hatch like Dragon Eggs someday. Yeah, they don't have anything to do to trade. The only way they get anything is if they move Westbrook. That's literally the only option they have. Yeah. And even then, it'll be like a down round almost of like poor value in return because of where he stands. What do you think? I think it looks like the Lakers' best case here is to just hold on, hope that Westbrook builds up his cachet a little, has a little more trade value than he does now, and also hope that some team gets desperate or a superstar gets disgruntled and see if you can make something happen. Please no Kyrie. Please, of all the decisions that have been made so far, please no Kyrie.
I was going for that the next. I mean, we looked at all the possibilities last week, right? And the only possibility that seemed a little bit realistic was Kyrie Irving. But after all of this drama, I don't think that's happening. Yeah, I think LeBron would want to stay away from all of that. So absolutely. I don't think that's happening.
I'd rather we get Nasir Little to the Lakers.
Well, with that said, that brings us to the end of the show. We have all 30 teams in action tomorrow, by the way. So lots of action to look forward to.
Red zone.
And lots of points to be scored in the fantasy league. So looking forward to that. Big numbers. I know that everyone's getting, but it's nice to see 300 points on your I'll see you next week, man.
All right. Cheers.